Welcome everyone. We're just going to let everyone trickle through and we'll start in a couple of minutes. Welcome again, everyone else who's still just joined us. We're just going to give it 1 or 2 minutes, let the rest come, and then we'll kick this off. Okay, I think that's probably enough time. Thanks everyone for joining us today. This will be our webinar on the latest launch from LexisNexis Intellectual Property, our quick AI search tool, TechDiscovery. I welcome everyone. Before we kick off, just some housekeeping. So the session is recorded, as you can see. That means you'll all receive a link after this if you want to share with any colleagues or review the material. We're going to be holding a Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, please just put it in the chat. We'll address them at the end. We should have about 5 more minutes or so. And anything that goes unanswered, we will follow up with directly. Okay. So quick introductions. Obviously, I'm James. I've been within the IP intelligence and AI space for about 6 years, and mostly working on the commercial side, helping people to understand how the tools we use can help them make their workflow and daily lives more efficient. I am very happy to be joined by my esteemed and wonderful colleagues, Costa and Katrin. Really looking forward to their input. Not only have they had experience on the service provider side, helping people like yourselves actually implement these tools and use them, they have been in the shoes with some real lived experience on the other side in in-house type workflows. So they have a little bit more experience with all the difficulties you'll probably face in your day-to-day. In terms of agenda, we're going to keep this quite quick today. It should be about 30 minutes. So first off is just why have we built this? Why does TechDiscovery help and what's it for? We'll take a little bit of a look under the hood, hopefully not too much jargon, but a bit of what's happening in the system and how it works. After that, I'll stop talking and Costa's going to take over, giving you a live demonstration. We'll use some pretty straightforward examples, but just trust me, if you ever try this yourself, you can use it with anything that you'd like. And Katrin, with a wealth of experience and a bunch of different people who've played around with this, is going to talk through practically how you can use it in different types of workflow. So not just for the IP heads in the room, R&D, scientists, and business professionals. We'll wrap up with questions and then hopefully let's send you on your way. Cool. So getting started, I think before we talk about today and the future, it's good just to look through the past. So those familiar with LexisNexis Intellectual Property will know that we are not just one solution or group, we are a combination of companies and experience. In the last decade plus, we have had most companies leverage data science, machine learning, and AI within a bunch of different offerings. So whether or not it was Cypher at the very beginning using unsupervised machine learning for clustering, all the way through to Analytics using it as a help in their essential scoring, there has been so many different forms of AI iteratively used within the platforms that we have that TechDiscovery may be exciting, but it only exists because of the foundations that those companies have put forward. In terms of why we've done it, I think whether or not it's just machine learning classification, Boolean searching, any format of gathering data, we've seen all of the different reasons and ways that people ask questions when they need to understand which patents might be relevant to a certain space. And I think the one gap that still exists in quite a big way is for quick, ad hoc, flexible questions. Most people, if they have the time, can dedicate the resources to spending hours, days, and weeks doing searches, building classifiers for big data questions and areas where you have time to answer it. But there are lots of questions which don't have that time. Whether or not it's a CTO asking you to tell you the top players in the space by tomorrow, or R&D asking for some prior art in a field which has barely been understood or described. There are lots of different situations where speed is of the utmost importance, and we've just not seen a tool which services that need properly. On the IP side, we've seen the issue where there's a lot of Boolean expertise, people who understand, how to create these strings, how to understand how to find things, but they may not necessarily know the technologies they're working in perfectly. Often it'll be new or a piece of research they need to look into. And so lots of time is spent on scoping, understanding, translating, what is this thing that I'm trying to find, long before you can actually do that piece of work. On the R&D side, it's a almost entirely different problem. It's, I have an idea of what I want to see. How do I now translate that, either to my IP colleagues who really want to understand the key language and codes to be used, or if I'm going to use a tool, how can I, when they've all been set up for pattern people and not my R&D brain? So that's kind of the gap we're trying to fill, and TechDiscovery helps both, purely fueled by the fact it is really just so simple and can get you to a result quickly. In terms of how it works, and there's a few things on the slide, and I think we can keep it quite simple. So TechDiscovery is kind of two systems in one. On the one side, you're going to see that word vector in the chart, so vectorization. You can think of this as a marker or a fingerprint. This is a process we've gone through for a number of years where we've looked at every single patent out there and given it a unique identifier, which is why I like the idea of a fingerprint. What is this patent? How can we identify it? And then when we do that with all of the patents in the world, we can understand which fingerprints match, which ones look similar, and when there's overlap. And so in the last couple of years, and this is something which we've launched and we've worked through with a lot of different customers, we effectively created a souped up similarity search. Put one document in and we will find you a bunch of similar ones by score, which should be a lot more relevant than normal searches. So that was one system, and we've had that working for a while. But the advent and the launch of generative AI in the last 18 months has really helped us to fill a gap. And that gap is not everyone starts with an example. Not everyone knows the patent which they're trying to compare to. And so if all you have is some key language or an invention disclosure or a few claims, being able to find examples still takes time. And so the large language model very simply takes whatever you give it. It could be a small bit of text, it could be a whole paragraph, it could be a page. It will understand and break down what are these concepts, what do they mean, and it will translate that into kind of a fake patent document. And so that's the second system. The second system is something which gives you the same starting point as if you did have good examples already. And so TechDiscovery, and I said I'll keep it simple, but I've already said quite a lot, is the combination of this vector similar families engine with a generative AI engine which can create fake examples and get you similar documents. Now, depending on how much guesswork you make the system do, you might want to refine the results a little bit. And that's the final bit at the bottom, is just if you see stuff in the results section and you want to mark it as positive and reinforce that that's a good result, you can, but it's not a complicated, long-winded training model. It's just giving it a few more prompts that this is something which should be compared. And finally, the benefits, and I'll try and keep it brief. It's about speed. And I think the main thing here is by the time we finish this webinar, you could have used TechDiscovery 12 or 13 times because most people spend less than 3 minutes getting to a result. So whatever you're doing that requires a quick answer, it's kind of the right system for that next stage of research or as a starting point. Everything can be filtered by score, meaning that you can prioritize the best hits first. And if you're an R&D person just trying to understand what's out there and how it could relate to your new filing, it's really simple. That might be as far as you go. If you're an advanced searcher, this might be fueling that scoping and research phase of your Boolean process, telling you what kind of codes exist, what kind of language people are using, and what kind of examples you can refer to. but speed is the main point. Now, luckily for everyone, that's enough of me talking. So I'm going to hand it over to Costa, who's just going to drive the next bit and show you what this actually is through a click through.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much, James. Just going to move over to TechDiscovery now and take you all through and walk you through a couple of different methods for using the tool. So when you open up the tool, you see this minimalistic interface. So it's super simple, and you have this simple but we call a smart box where you can input your search criteria and a search history below just to show you your saved searches. Now, as James mentioned before, we can start a search with text inputs using either a simple sentence, which could be a technology name or a short description, or a longer text input like a detailed description in the form of a paragraph or text. And this could be, say, from non-patent literature or even parts of the patent text itself. To show you what this looks like, I'm going to start off with just a straightforward technology description that we said before that I want to explore. So I'm just going to type in noise cancelling headphones. And like I said, it's a super simple example that everyone will understand, but you can of course try something, try anything that's relevant to you and your technology space. And then I'm just going to click search. And now when I use this short form input like I have, a generative AI system, like James says, supplements my input with more detail and compares it against these vectors or fingerprints that are embedded in all patents in the database. So as you can see, all of this is performed within a few seconds, and then I'm taken to this results list. This part of the tool is again super simple. We have the list of different patent families with some bibliographic details. And on the right-hand side, we've got these similarity scores. Now, these scores are generated based on how close a patent family is to my search inputs. The higher the score, the closer the match is. And what I've got here is a broad list of results because of the broad nature of my search input. And it gives me the opportunity to explore some of the different types of concepts or features within this technology space. I'm currently in this list view, but I can also switch to this tile view, which gives an initial read into the abstract of each family representative and helps me start digging deeper into the finer details of these patterns. Now, I've screened this initial list of families beforehand, so you don't have to watch me read them, but I've noticed already that there are a handful related specifically to active noise cancelling. And so let's say I want to click into this example, have a look at this family and take a deeper read into it. And this is going to help me gain some more context and identify the deeper and finer details of this pattern. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see we have these action buttons, and this is one of the key features of TechDiscovery, the ability to refine and narrow down my results list. Of these three buttons, I've got this mark as relevant, mark as irrelevant, and then a bookmark for like a review later. I can save family for later and just take a look at it another time. Now, when I've identified a patent family that is interesting and I want to narrow down my exploration a bit more, I can mark this family as relevant and use this example as an additional input. So to ensure that I give TechDiscovery a reasonable amount of context on this narrower area, I'll just mark a few more examples that are relevant. Again, like I said, I've already screened this data. So I'll just go to a couple of documents that I've already identified as active noise cancelling. Again, I've read through these, identified that these are nice examples for me to use. And again, just one below, another active noise cancellation related pattern. And again, just mark that one as relevant. Now, you really don't need to be exhaustive here. Just these three examples are enough to really refine my results list and give me that narrowed down landscape. And so if I just go back to the results list, you'll be able to see that at the top I have this pattern family selections. And then in the relevant pile here, I've got this +3 in brackets. Now, when the number's in brackets, that means that the examples that I've marked haven't been included into my search just yet. But over here on the right-hand side, I've got this apply and update button. When I click apply and update, those 3 examples that I marked as relevant will be used alongside my initial search input. But first, I'll just set how many results I want to see. So let's choose, let's say, the top 5,000 patent families with the high similarity score. And then I'll just click apply and update. And now if I scroll through my results list, you'll see a list which is much more tailored towards that active noise cancelling headphones area that I want to explore a bit more. I can also refine my results further by adding filters using this Boolean filter bar. Let's say, for example, a territory filter, a date filter, or even a status filter. So let's just say I want to limit my results to families with patents granted from 2015 onwards. I'll just type in GD for grant date and then put in my date range, so 2015 to 2024, press enter, and now I have a filtered results list based on this criteria. And once I've got my refined results list, I can either explore the results directly within TechDiscovery or use the export or copy function at the bottom, where I can either export my results into a spreadsheet or use either of these copy family representative or copy all family members to my clipboards and then quickly import my results list into another tool by pasting it in, let's say, for example, our flagship analytics tool, PatentSite Plus. Now, this example that I've just walked through was a scenario where I've had very little information to begin with, a very simple technology name, just to help me create a quick landscape. But in other cases, I might already have detailed or relevant information that I could use as an input. So I'm just going to go back now to my initial screen. And let's say I already had a short list of relevant patents I was aware of from a previous search that I may have conducted. I can simply just go back here into my clever smart box, paste these patent numbers in, and then use these as my input to find more patents that are related to these. Again, I can refine my results list even further just by marking more families as relevant if I wanted to, or applying more filters to my search again. I'm now going to pass you over to Katrin, who's going to talk in more detail about how these different ways of using TechDiscovery can be applied to some of your use cases. So Katrin, over to you.
Thanks, Costa. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to share how TechDiscovery has been integrated into our classification platform for the past year. We have done a lot of internal testing and collaborated with our clients to pinpoint some core use cases across industries, various business departments, extending beyond IP professionals. I'll now describe 4 key use cases we have identified, highlighting the most likely users and benefits for each, aiming to inspire your own applications. Let's jump right in and begin with our first use case, initial technology exploration. R&D engineers, this one's for you. Before diving into costly research and development, it's important to gather intelligence on novel technology areas, especially if they are completely new for your organization. TechDiscovery makes this process quick and easy. It doesn't really require extensive knowledge about Boolean logic or deep understanding of patents. This allows you to perform initial analyses and understand existing prior art in the technology space, including different concepts and features of an invention. You may also identify potential white spaces for R&D and planning for future product generations and improvements. By inputting a technology name or description, you can simplify your exploration process and make informed decisions about where to invest your time and resources in the innovation process. Moving on to our second use case, quick strategic intelligence. IP professionals, including analysts and patent portfolio managers, often face time-sensitive requests for technology landscapes and one-off strategic questions from all corners of the business. Previously, these required manual, time-consuming processes using traditional query-based methods. With TechDiscovery, you can generate directional landscapes and provide strategic intelligence in no time. Plus, it enables you to create more IP awareness, helping you stay on top of trends and potential competitive threats with breaking less of a sweat. Whether you're working with as little input as technology names, patent numbers, or more detailed descriptions such as abstracts, claims, or even non-patent literature snippets, TechDiscovery can help you tackle these challenging scenarios and let you respond swiftly to requests from across your organization, even when faced with tight deadlines or limited resources. Our third use case is all about prior art searching, something every IP searcher and patent attorney knows is crucial. TechDiscovery can be your trusted companion, complementing your existing search strategies by helping you to quickly find keywords and classifications, while uncovering blind spots that traditional Boolean searches might miss. It also enables efficient initial scans of prior art, whether that is for determining if an in-depth search is even necessary, or a first novelty assessment, maybe challenging the validity of another patent or identifying obstructive prior art. You can input patent numbers, individual claims, or even paragraphs from the patent's description to leverage TechDiscovery's capabilities. By utilizing basic search commands for dates on top of your results, like Costa has just showed you, you can narrow down your search straightforward and efficiently. Finally, let's explore identifying similar families. This is our broadest use case and can be relevant for different players within your organization. I will walk you through the examples of a patent attorney and business-focused professionals, such as a patent portfolio manager or other business professional working on the product side. So for patent attorneys, TechDiscovery can help discover potential workarounds in case there are obstructive patents. It can also help you with your claim drafting by providing a comprehensive insight into existing innovations and how they have been claimed. It could also potentially speed up the prosecution timeline. And with careful, proactive planning, you could use your gained knowledge of the prior art to turn your filing into multiple continuation applications. And this can generate interlocking patent protection that covers your product or technology more completely and is potentially less susceptible to invalidation. For IP portfolio managers and business professionals, TechDiscovery simplifies finding similar patent families. This enables quick identification of patents to enhance an organization's portfolio. It supports mergers and acquisitions activities, identifying patents for licensing or portfolio acquisitions. It can also help you spotting organizations operating in the same technology for commercialization strategies. Whether you're inputting patent numbers, claim drafts, or technology names, TechDiscovery offers a fresh perspective that complements traditional search and intelligence methods. In today's fast-paced tech landscape, innovation isn't just about having great ideas, it's about understanding them quickly and strategically. TechDiscovery turns complex patent research from time-consuming tasks into quick, intuitive explorations that really anyone can tackle. TechDiscovery enables faster, more accessible search capabilities, lowering the barriers to IP analytics and reducing the effort required to uncover meaningful insights. And with this, back to you, James.
Thank you so much, Katrin and Costa, for sharing that with us all. So I think in terms of the key messages from today, it's basically, this is for everyone, it's quick, and while it may not be every single answer you're looking for, it helps with a lot of different workflows and questions. It's also to say that this is just the start. Now, hopefully we've got some customers in the room of other products, but you can kind of take this anywhere. If you are trying to get that quick landscape to understand who's doing what, just take the results and quickly analyze them in Pattern Sight with as many choices as you'd like. For anyone familiar with building real classification and training the machine learning models, you'll know that examples are key, and knowing where to look for them can be quite hard. So we've seen this help the people who are subject matter experts feeding into that process, also the builders themselves getting more out of very little. And if you are Total Pattern 1 and you're still going through the real detailed searches, then understanding all the language and codes and types out there is just as important as ever, and this can be a great way to begin that. We also aren't just limiting it here. Hopefully you're using it within our systems, but it's really easy to export this. Try it anywhere where you can take the results and continue it. And so I think that's the main bit from today. Now we kept it, I think we're under half an hour. So no coffee needed. Everyone's excited, leaning forward in chairs. Now you're ready to basically talk all the things AI. We want to tell you about the Insider program. It's really simple. Basically, if you want to understand what we're launching, what we're working on, try and get access to things before they're official and get kind of a peek behind the curtain to see what LexisNexis is doing with AI and pattern work, just sign up. It's really easy to do. The link will be available to everyone. And if you have any issues, just reach out and we'll happily set you up. And with that, I think we have questions. I think we have a few already. And if anyone has one, pop it through. We'll try and make sure that we get there. Costa, we've got one at the start, which is just talking back to that idea of vectors, markers, fingerprints. Basically, how do they work? What are we looking at in terms of the key information that considers to give a pattern a fingerprint?
Yeah, so effectively the data points we're talking about here. So it's focused on full text of a pattern, so title, abstract, claims, and description. It doesn't use CPC or IPC codes. We do have a system which is called classification. I think we saw it just towards the end there, where James was talking about it, which does use CPC, IPC. It's a bit more of a complex system, and it's more for specifically these larger questions that you want to answer repeatedly and to give you much more accurate landscapes. But because this one is much more directional, so TechDiscovery I'm talking about now, it's purely focused on just the text side of things, using it to help you effectively find similar families based purely on that text.
Thank you very much. If it didn't give you enough detail, as I say, just follow up afterwards and we'll happily continue. Someone can jump out and answer this one if they'd like, but in terms of the positive and negative examples, how is that training the system? And I'm happy to jump in as well if that's something which you prefer.
I think
quick answer, I guess. Well. Yeah, I'll go for it anyway. It's not training in the same way as you'd consider. I think the world's understanding a lot more about classification, models, training, but there's a whole lot of words that all sound similar. For TechDiscovery, a positive is basically just more context, more prompting. It's saying, look, this is more of what I'm looking for. Please consider that when you're looking for similarities out there. And the negative just simply removes it from the list. Back to what Costa was saying about classification, which is a whole different world, in that you can explicitly train the model to think yes and no. With this, it's basically giving it more detail or telling it to look away from something. Okay. think we've got time for maybe 2 more. Very practical. Is there a limit to the number of patent examples you can use in this as an input? Someone want to jump in?
Yeah, sure. I can go for that one again. Effectively, there isn't a limit to the number of patent numbers that you can use, but it's better to focus on selecting patents that might have similar concepts rather than a diverse group. So like I said earlier, this is much more of a directional search tool for finding similar patent families rather than, let's say, our classification system again, which is more of an accurate classifier that can be trained on multiple concepts.
Brilliant. And then one more, and then I'll quickly address another question, which we won't go into too much detail. There's just a question in terms of security, and it's a really, really common question. You know, is there some big engine out there learning all of your answers and taking all your data? And the answer is no. In everything we do, the system's usage of your training, your examples, it's all consumed just for you. So there's no internal digestion of that. There's no additional learning. Effectively, it's kind of isolated. And I think we even, I don't know if Costa of you have it, but we actually have a link just about how LexisNexis uses AI responsibly. I know it's part of our other publications, and if we have time, we'll dig it out and share it. But yeah, it's all fairly safe. And the final one, I'm not going to answer in entire detail because we'll hopefully not make this a sales call. But in terms of pricing, someone has asked, you know, what is the price of this? Is there a range? I can tell you that as this is a standalone, you know, we try to keep it quite reasonable in terms of giving everyone the ability to access it. And there are lots of different opportunities for an individual or a group to use it. With the person who's asked this explicitly, in fact, there's 2 of you now, I will send that out directly just as an answer so you can have a look. And if you're interested after that, please feel free to reach out. But with that, I think, unless any of my colleagues have any final remarks.
I would like to answer another question, which is a really quick one. Is this working on English or also on Chinese? TechDiscovery is able to handle languages other than English, so feel free to try in Chinese or even in Korean.
And Japanese as well, right?
In Japanese as well, yeah. I could go on with a whole list, but
try it all.
Try it all.
We've named 4, and there'll be others. Okay, cool. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time. A little bit over the 30 minutes, but really appreciate you being here. When this ends, you're going to be given a survey. Please feel free to fill that in. It would be really helpful for everyone. Have a wonderful day. The weekend's soon, and please reach out if you have any questions for any of the team. Thank you.